Hi there and welcome back to another video. My name is Monica of Millie and Monica, and I am a full-time clothing reseller on both Poshmark and eBay. Today I have another What Sold video, and this video is for the second week of March of 2020. And so I shared and did a very similar video to this the week prior for the first week of March. So if you are at all interested in reseller related content, selling clothing online, and of course making money online, please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, and of course give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out here on YouTube. So like mentioned earlier, I did a very similar video for the first week of March. That was one of my best sales weeks ever. And then something happened. And I don't mean to make light of what's going on in our world right now, but there is kind of a health crisis. And so it kind of started to really hit home the end of that first week of March. And the second week is when I really noticed it was starting to maybe affect my sales. Now, I say that I think that it might be affecting or might have affected my sales for that second week of March, but to be honest, as I'll share in a little bit, I wasn't listing as much as I normally do. So that always affects my sales. When I don't list as much, I don't have as many sales, typically. So I do want to share a little bit about my sales. This was definitely a slower week for me. I did half the amount of sales that I did the first week of March. And on record, this was my worst Poshmark sales week since I went full-time over a year and a half ago. Now, because I've been selling on eBay and have been for a few months, eBay really helped me out this week. And again, I cannot be more grateful for, cross-listing and having those multiple streams of revenue. eBay really helped me, recover what I normally would have seen in Poshmark sales. So again, I'm going to shout out to vendu.co, because that is the service that I'm using to cross-list quickly. You can cross-list on your own. I struggled doing that or trying to do that before Vendu, and now because of Vendu, I can cross-list very, very quickly and get items that I'm listing on Poshmark cross-listed in a short amount of time. If you are interested in trying out Vendu, especially during this time and what we're facing currently, you can get 25% off your first month. We'll have that link down below. And I know for me, I am probably going to start cross-listing to Mercari. Now, I've tried listing on Mercari before. It's never worked out that well for me. But I think, I already have these items uploaded into Vendu, and it'll be super easy for me to cross-list them to Mercari. And I think now more than ever is a really great time for me to get those items in front of as many eyeballs as possible. So let's dive into some more numbers. So for the second week of March, the 9th through the 15th, my total gross sales was $937.62. That's about half of what I did the first week of March. You can go back and watch that video if you're curious. So these are gross numbers. Know that Poshmark takes 20% and eBay has their fees as well. So my cost of goods is really low. I shop primarily at the bins. It's between $1 to $2 an item on average. So I shop at the bins. On Poshmark, I did $580 in gross sales. That is the lowest Poshmark sales week I have had since I went full-time. I only listed 36 items. Or 36 new items, and I relisted 25 items. And I had 26 sales. Normally, I would list a lot more new items. And this past week, if you've been following along kind of with my YouTube journey, I went sourcing 4 times this week. I went to the bins 4 times, which is incredibly unusual. I usually only go sourcing 1 to 2 times a week. So a lot of time was spent on sourcing, creating, some more content, YouTube content than normal, because I was trying to document this time. So I definitely didn't utilize my time last week very well. And I know that affected my sales. Was slower sales due to what's currently the crisis that we're kind of facing right now? Sure. But some of it was also because I just wasn't doing my normal listing amount, which is normally much higher. So next, eBay gross sales was $357.62. I had cross-listed 61 items to eBay, and I had 18 sales on eBay. Moving on now to what actually sold. I'm only going to share the items with the highest resale value, or that sold for the most amount of money. And so I have 11 items that I'll be sharing from Poshmark and then 7 from eBay, and they're just the highest grossing sales. And honestly, I made the highest net on these items because, again, my cost of good is also really low. So first thing that sold that I'm going to be sharing and talking about is this vintage black wide crocodile leather belt, and that sold for $30 via customer offer. I love picking up belts. Recently, I have picked up a ton of belts, and they're just super easy to photograph, measure, and list. Next is this pair of J. Crew tan leather loafers, and they were size 7.5. They sold via counter offer and for $31. Next is this pair of vintage Levi's. Now, I've actually had this pair of Levi's for a little while. They were a tapered, pleated trouser style jean. So that just means the front had pleating to it and the back pockets were more of that trouser style rather than your regular jean pocket. These were an orange tab, which is more rare, and I thought these would have sold quicker, but they did take a while. I did have them listed higher as well, though, just because they were a very unique pair. They ended up selling for $40 via offer to liker. Next is this pair of vintage Calvin Klein high-rise jean shorts. They definitely were very distressed. They were a light wash, but definitely had some distressing. The corners of the pockets were worn through, and they had a couple of little patches, but they still had some holes. And those sold for $30 via customer offer. Next is this 90s Y2K vintage Budweiser muscle tank top. So this was actually my dad's tank top. I remember him wearing this out on the lake. I had this listed kind of high because there's some sentimental value there, and because, you know, finding one of the original shirts like this that was made, you know, they do make modern make, but this was an older style. So I waited for the right buyer. Someone offered me $30 and I did accept it. Next is this Burton Dry Ride checkered stripe jacket. I was surprised that this didn't sell quite a while ago. It had a ton of likes on it. No one was really interested. And so I relisted it a few weeks ago, and not very many people liked it the second go around. So I did send out a $40 offer to liker, which someone accepted. I was happy to see that move on. The next sale is this Puma iridescent chrome bomber jacket. This was a really fun style jacket. I don't pick up a lot of like athletic wear usually to sell, or like streetwear. I don't sell a ton of that other than, I guess, jeans. But this was a fun item for me to kind of look up and look at comps and try out this new kind of brand. Puma is not a brand that I sell very often. So it was a size medium and sold for $27 via offer to liker. This next brand was a new to me brand, and there's not a whole lot of comps out there. This is a very expensive brand. So the brand is Toast, all capital letters, Toast, and they were a pair of wide leg cropped like trouser jeans, and size 6. These retailed, well, similar styles retailed for, you know, over $100. And I just couldn't find a whole lot in the resale area on this brand, but they did sell for $30 via customer offer, and I was happy to see them go off to a new home. This next item is a vintage, I guess it was a set. So this next set is a Sterling Cooper pink 2-piece suit set, and it was a very small size. I got this quite a while back, last summer. Actually, it's been almost a year ago next month. I got this set, and I purchased it at a garage sale. It did need some stain treating and soaking, so I did clean this up pretty well. And I expected it to go for more, honestly, but I think just the size, being such a small size, was an extra small. It did take a while, and as I was reviewing these items, I did realize that I had suit spelled wrong, which I don't know if that was an autocorrect thing. I'm guessing it is, because a lot of my spelling mistakes are autocorrect mistakes. But I'm guessing that also probably hurt my ability to sell this quickly. But it did sell for $25 via customer offer. I was happy to see it go off to new home, definitely. and happy to move an older item that had been sitting for a while. Next was this pair of vintage Swedish wooden painted clogs. So they were a black leather upper, and artists had painted a little detail on them. They were size 10 and sold for $24 via customer offer. And the last Poshmark sale that I'm going to share before moving on to eBay is this Coach leather Cognate Brown. It was a thinner belt, and again, I love selling belts, and roughly a size, I think it was size 34, so waist size 34, and it sold for $32 via offer to liker. And when I say offer to liker, that is when I send out a discount and a slight shipping discount. I don't offer full shipping discount. That eats into my profit margin way too much. So I just send out that, small shipping discount when I send out offer to likers, unless it is an item that, maybe is $100 or over $100, then I might send out free shipping, but that's very rare. Okay, next, eBay. I did have some really fun sales on eBay. Again, just sharing the ones that, sold for the most amounts. And I will say some of the stuff that I relisted on Poshmark, I then cross-listed to eBay and then sold on eBay. Definitely some lower price sales over there this week, but I was happy to accept them nonetheless. So let's dive in. This first pair of shoes, I cannot tell you how happy I was to finally sell them. So it was a pair of AGL, which so many people talk about this brand. I hear about it all the time in the reseller community, how it's a bolo, and I'm sure it is. However, this, in my opinion, was a great pair of shoes. Very, unique and also like trendy. So they were at Oxblood Patent Leather Oxford. However, I had them listed on Poshmark for well over 6 months, probably getting closer to the year mark, and they've been relisted several times. I've usually gotten, decent amount of likes, sent out really low offers, and absolutely crickets. I finally relisted them probably about a month or so ago, cross-listed them to eBay, and someone purchased them for $42.24. Again, they're a great shoe. They're in really good condition. I don't know why they were sitting so long. Would I pick up this brand again? Yes, most definitely. But I think I would definitely lower my expectations on how much I can get for them or how fast they're going to sell. Next is this pair of 90s Y2K vintage men's striped overalls. I did label them as unisex in my description and just described that they could be worn as a men or women's, but they were tagged a men's size small, whereas they would fit more of a women's medium large. So I described that on the listing. A woman did buy them for $26.60, and these were literally listed like a day. So overalls are still selling really well for me, and I was happy for that quick sale. Next is this vintage jacket, and this might be a little bit of a story too. So this is a vintage Herman K wool blend long line jacket. So it was like an 80s does 60s style. And size 10, I did model it because I still, even if an item is a little too big for me, I still like to model it because people like to see kind of how it's going to fit on a human and how it's going to move and lay. So anyways, I did list this on both Poshmark and eBay. Within a day or so, I got a $50 offer for it on eBay, which I accepted. Long story short, the buyer sent an offer, I accepted it, and then she had a lot of questions about it. I explained to her that if she wanted me to cancel the order, that she would have to request a cancellation or eBay would open a case against her for not paying. I explained to her that if I canceled on my end, my account would be penalized. She ended up actually purchasing the jacket for $50. And I truly hope that she loves it. Next is this Trina Turk teal blue white sundress and size 12. This is another one that as I was reviewing for this video, I realized I spelled Turk wrong in Trina Turk. And I'm just glad this buyer was able to find the dress regardless. So it did sell for $25. This was an older style, so I was happy to see that go quickly. And this next item was an And Other Stories blouse. It was a yellow floral top that was actually a wrap style, so you did tie it at the side. It was a size 8 and sold for $20. I had a ton of likes on this on both platforms. And Other Stories is definitely a brand to be on the lookout for, or a bolo. Every time I've found it, which is only 3 times. I've had a lot of likes on the items and they've sold well. Next is this 90s vintage plaid jumper dress. This dress I've had for quite a while and it's been hanging for a while, and I was finally photographing dresses and was able to get that listed. It did have a stain on it, but someone did purchase it for $20. And the last item I'm going to share is this J. Crew women's pink cable knit cashmere blend sweater. And this sold for $24.04 on eBay. And yes, on eBay you can get kind of those random price sales, but that's definitely okay. I don't mind. Overall, you know, it wasn't a great sales week, but it wasn't the worst. And moving forward, my plan is just to really ramp up how much I'm listing, because I did go sourcing so much. I do have quite a bit of inventory in front of me. And I guess if you're still watching, my best suggestion moving forward would be, you know, if you have those duck piles, work through them. If you have piles of stuff that needs to be mended or stain treated, really use this time to work through those piles as well. And if you're low on inventory, you can always rephotograph, relist those items, or, you know, work on other projects that you're behind on. Maybe you're wanting to start your YouTube channel, or maybe you're wanting to start a blog or something to that nature. Use this time to really dive in and do something like that if, you know, if you're stuck at home or stuck indoors, I guess. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.